Sometimes when a file is referenced, you need it to be inserted instead. That way you can manipulate the line work without altering the referenced file. This process is called binding, and it's very simple to do. Let us open up the reference file. And in this reference file, it has xref'd another file called MovieHouse. So if I open up the xref manager, just type xr on the command line, press enter, see that I have the MovieHouse file referenced into this drawing. Well, all you have to do to bind an xref into it is select the file, in this case MovieHouse, right click and click on the bind option. Now you have two options, bind or insert. They will essentially do the same thing with just a slight difference. What they'll both do is break the xref and insert that xref file directly into your file that you're currently in as you would insert it as a block. So it now becomes a block. And then what it will do is add the layers to it that are missing. So if you have layers in your xref file that aren't in your file you're working on now, it'll bring them in. Now that's where the differences come into play. A binding will create layers that say, in this case, MovieHouse, and then the name of the layer. So it will add all of them into this drawing. Now the insert option will just bring the layers in as they are. It won't put on that special prefix for that definition. So let me show you. I'll click on the bind option, click OK, and you'll see here in the xref manager that that MovieHouse file reference went away. But the file is still here in the form of a block. When I select it, you'll see it is called a block. The name is MovieHouse. So now if I use the insert command, you'll find MovieHouse in here, plus all the other blocks that were already in that file that have been brought over, and I can insert it again as a block. If I explode the block, it's now just regular line type, text, blocks, etc. If I open up the layer manager, you'll see my new layers here, MovieHouse, and then it puts in these characters, the $0, and then the name of the layer. And it brings in the layer settings exactly the way they're set up in that file. Now, if I undo everything here, see, this is an xref again. When I select an xref file in the properties palette, it tells me it's an external reference. I'll escape that to unselect it. If I go back to my xref manager, see here it is. I'm going to select it, right click, and click bind. Now, if I click the insert option, click OK, see it goes away from my xref manager and it's still here. It's now a block. It's called MovieHouse. If I go to the insert command, see I have MovieHouse. And it has the other blocks that are with it, but it doesn't say MovieHouse in front of it. It doesn't put that naming convention into it. If I open up the layer manager, press enter, I have all the layers here that came with it, but none of them say MovieHouse in front of them. So when do you use binding or inserting? If you want to keep that prefix in your block names and in your layer names, then bind it. If not, use the other option.